Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2018 career mode here today for round 19 for the Mexican Grand Prix. If you guys missed round 18 for the USA Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas, then check out the episode guys by clicking on the top right hand corner of your screen on the card annotation above. Now for this race we don't have no rain expected and the pressure is on guys. It is absolutely crunch time. The gap between myself and Charles Leclerc is 3 points and we've got 3 races left. It's really close and we're trying our absolute best to try and improve this car as much as we can, and for this race we have an ultimate chassis upgrade, in this case to improve the tyre wear, which is going to help us out massively. It does seem like the R&D for Sauber this season is finished and they're looking at next season due to the regulation change, but we are still pushing on here because we need to improve the car more and close that deficit to Sauber. As you can see on the R&D chart there, we are going to close a little bit and make up the progress, and we've got some more stuff in the pipeline. As you guys know, if not you'll see it at the end of the episode, we already have another ultimate aerodynamic upgrade on the way. We also have a major engine upgrade on the way as well, and I'm hoping to add to that in this episode as well because we already have 600 points saved up, so hopefully we can add some more upgrades to that, probably in the chassis department if it all goes well, and we should have a absolutely huge upgrade package for the next race in Brazil, and that should be the game changer. And I'm kind of hoping, not just for my sake but for Vettel as well, we still have an outside chance of the Constructors' Championship. We are, I think, 60 points behind with 3 races to go, so we kind of need to, if we can improve the car and gain points on Sauber starting in this race, then we might have a chance. It's going to be quite tricky. We might need the Saubers, one of them to retire, or we have to get 1-2s in both races, which is going to be tricky, but we have to give it a go, and while there's mathematically still a chance, we have to try and take it. So let's see how it goes. But as you can see, we're now here on Saturday for qualifying at Mexico, and I went for 3 runs in this session guys on the hyper soft tyres around here. I can tell you straight away, based on practice, this is probably my last strongest track in the season. I was really quick in practice, and also the tyre upgrade was working really well. I could save tyres so easily in practice, so things were looking good for this race weekend, and I've got one eye on Abu Dhabi already because Abu Dhabi is a bad racetrack for me in terms of my pace compared to the AI. But nonetheless, into qualifying, on my first run we had a huge moment here through the S7, a massive slide you can see there, and kind of ruined my middle sector to be honest, but I still pushed on because I wanted to get a bit of an understanding and a bank of time in just to see where we were relative to the AI, and you can see we're still pushing on here after that mistake. Leclerc currently setting the pace in the Sauber there with a 110.2, and now we go through the final few corners here. Obviously we're not going to go faster than Leclerc, but can we at least get a lap time and a benchmark on the board, and we do set a lap time there for P5, so not too bad considering we did have a pretty leery spin to be fair, so not too bad so far. But my second run was actually my best one, so let's run on board for this entire lap. A very quick lap around the Mexico circuit here, straight away onto the pit straight, taking the wide line through the final corner to maximise straight line speed, and 360 k's plus as we look for the 50-metre board to break down to 4th gear and then later on down to 3rd to get the rotation. I lose the back a little bit mid-corner there, but we managed to catch it and keep our foot planted through the chicane section. It's important to really go over those curves and be aggressive because there's a lot of time to get through there. As we now brake for turn 4 at the 100-metre board, down to 3rd gear. Have patience with this section, use 2nd gear if we need to get the rotation, and then get the power smooth as we now go back on the brakes for a double apex right hand hairpin, and then on the power once again as we now make our way into the best part of the racetrack here for the S section. All about letting the car run wide, lean on the curbs, and have that confidence in your car that it's going to stick through here. And to be fair, I had a bit of an oversteery car. The back end was a little bit lively, but I kind of liked it. It worked in my favour. You can see here we are absolutely flying here as we go through the second sector. We are literally so far up on Leclerc's previous time and so far up on my previous best as well, 1.3 up to be exact. And can we creep inside a 109 here possibly? As we now go through the final corner, is it going to be a 110 or a 109 up to the line? And we do go P1 and it's a 109.7. What a lap. That was absolutely out of nowhere. And I kind of surprised myself, to be honest, how quick that lap was. On my final one, though, we came very close to having a huge crash with Vettel, and that kind of ruined my final attempt. So unfortunately, no final attempt for us. Luckily enough, though, Leclerc improved, but it wasn't enough, and we were so quick in qualifying. That second run was perfect. I was kind of debating whether to go back out or not for the final run because I didn't think there was much time left in it. Besides the little sideways moment at turn 1, literally the rest of the lap was pretty much perfect. And I was really happy that lap. The car was working fantastically well. And, it seems to be working for Vettel as well. So he managed to beat Ericsson and split the Saubers. So it's not looking too bad for us as we start from pole position here. My first one in a long time. With that being said, though, the pressure is on. And it's now time for the race as we start from pole position for round number 19 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's jump into it.
Great qualifying session. Are you feeling safer ahead of the pack? It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race? It didn't look like you put much time into practice today. Is there a reason? Appreciate your time.
The air may be thin here in Mexico City, the atmosphere is anything but. The crowd have been chanting and singing, not just this afternoon, but throughout the entire weekend. There's a great love for Formula One here, and no small amount of expectation. Let's hope today's Grand Prix can meet it. We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6 mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs, so it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Martinez lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Ericsson, Carlos Sainz, and Hülkenberg, Alonso, Ricciardo, Perez, and Roman Grosjean. Magnussen, Van Dorn, Max Verstappen, and Ocon, Hamilton, Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, and Brendan Hartley. Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay then, here we are on the grid for the Mexican Grand Prix. Probably the worst track to get pole position on in terms of how long of a run we have down to the first corner. But we are on pole nonetheless, and hopefully we can try and stay in front of Charles Leclerc down to turn 1. It's going to be quite tricky. We're going to need a very good start and hold the inside line and try and break the slipstream. Fingers crossed. I'd like Vettel to get in amongst it and try maybe beat Leclerc into the first corner if possible to really ruin the party for them. But with that being said, in terms of the strategy today, it's very simple. Originally I was recommended Hyper, Ultra, Ultra, but I don't think I have 2 fresh Ultras left. So I'm going to go Hyper, Super, Ultra. Dare I say, I'm going to try and maybe go for a one-stop with the Hyper Soft straight onto the Super Soft if possible. It depends how far I can go on the first stint. With that being said though, fuel-wise, we're going to run quite light this time. We're going to run only 0.5 laps more fuel because I want to be lighter and more aggressive at the beginning of the race. And yeah, pretty much we're going to try and see if we can extend our championship lead. The gap currently stands at 3 points with 3 races to go, including this one. And we then got Brazil and Abu Dhabi left. So the pressure is on. And if we win today, we extend the gap to 10 points. If Leclerc wins, the championship lead changes hands with 2 races remaining. And I know Abu Dhabi isn't my best track, so we need to preferably do well here today just in case, because this is probably my last strongest track. So with that being said, the pressure's on and we need to win here today. It's time for round number 19 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's jump into it. Right, here we go then, the 5 red lights come on here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico. Lights on and it's lights out and away we go. It's not a bad start actually, but we are going to lose out to Leclerc in the initial phase. I'm going to see if I can pick up a toe. Ericsson gets a great start. We're starting to pick up a toe now. Vettel's trying to cash in as well. We're going to go down the inside here into turn 1. Aggressive 3 wide there with Ericsson and Leclerc. Around the outside, we're going to take those positions back. There we go. We get back into first place. It's not over yet though. We're still fighting here as we race down towards turn number 3. Leclerc's down to P4. Ericsson's up to P2. He's trying to go around my outside here. Vettel's in P3, so Leclerc has had a poor start to the race. Ericsson's fighting me here. I'm going to be on the outside line. I'm going to hold on to it though and take back first place, and there we go. That's the kind of start I'm talking about, and that's exactly what we needed. Very good stuff as we lead again here at Mexico. Vettel's P3, so hopefully he should have pace to get past Ericsson, I think, based off of qualifying and this weekend so far. But we're in P1, adjustment to the brake bias now up to 56, and that's all about trying to control the race pace. I want to try and open up a gap because Leclerc's not P2, so we should be able to pull away here, which is good news. This is probably one of the worst starts I've seen Leclerc have all season, which is very rare. He always gains at the start of the race. But in this situation, he hasn't, which is great news. And now we've got to try and establish a gap here early on and try and pull away. Ericsson won't have much of a toe on me. Vettel might have a nice toe on Ericsson. There's no DRS just yet. But here's hoping Vettel can try and get past that Sauber if possible. Good start to the race then. On to lap 3. Purple lap, 13.6. And we're now out of DRS range. 1.3 clear for Ericsson. DRS is now enabled, so here's hoping Vettel can get a run on Ericsson, although I think Vettel is actually being caught up here by Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc might have a go at my own teammate here into the first corner. Fingers crossed Vettel can try and challenge Ericsson. There will be DRS now in this straight, so come on Vettel, pull through for the team here. You got this. Another strong lap there. 1/10 off my fast lap of the Grand Prix last time round. Vettel now has DRS on Ericsson and is gaining on him. I don't know if it'll be enough, but those three behind are really closing up here going into that first corner brake zone. I'm just hoping Vettel, in a 2v1 situation, can pull through and try and do a job for us here today. Also, if we can get a 1-2 for us as a team, that would bring us back into contention with 2 races to go. Knowing the upgrades that are coming on the car in the coming races, it could give us a chance still to fight for the constructors. So we need to outscore Sauber today, preferably.
MFD, strategy option.
Oh, that's a bit of a busted up radio, but we've got a change strategy option here.
Got back, note.
We'll just go with the original strategy for now. Dare I say, none of those 2 strategies. Got to be careful with the rear tyres around this circuit as well. This one is a real rear tyre challenger, as you saw in qualifying, me losing the back end. Oh, it's kicking off behind. They're battling away. Ericsson and Vettel there just briefly exchange positions. Come on, Seb. Come on, Seb. Let's do it for the team. There you go. Vettel's P2. Come on, hold on to that, Seb. You got this. No, Ericsson's back. They're still going at it here, but that's good. Also, this gives me a chance to really open up a gap here, as Vettel does seem to definitively take P2 as well. So there we go. It's a 4-1-2 here at Mexico. And that's exactly what we need. And look at the gap I've got now as well, which is really, really good. Give me a good chance here to pull away. Okay, now Leclerc's up to P3. He's got past Ericsson, so looks like Leclerc's getting a move on now. There we go, Leclerc goes for the move on to my teammate, Sebastian Vettel. I think they're still side by side at the minute. Come on, Seb. Trying to hold him up. Looks like Leclerc's got in front. Right, at the minute, that was my scheduled pit stop lap, but my tyres look pretty good. You can see there, 30% on the rears, that's fine. We can easily push that to 50, and also tyre temperatures look pretty good. They're all pretty much on 100 or below, so things are looking good. I've got no complaints. The next step is to get to lap 9, and if we get to lap 9 and we're still feeling okay, we'll keep going and we'll commit to the 1 stop. Okay, Leclerc's shaking off Vettel. Speaking of which, he comes in. So let's see what happens here.
Sebastian is in the pits.
Bit of a split strategy from us, I think. We'll see how our tyres look at the end of this lap, and then I'll decide whether to go for the 1 stop or not. First track extension there as well, got to be careful with that. Lost too much speed mid-corner. Looking at my tyres, I'm going to continue here. I'm going to commit to this 1 stop. I want to see if I can get to lap 12. And I reckon I can make it work. I need to get to lap 12 though. So we're going to give this a go. This is for the championship. We're going to roll the dice here. That's what we're all about. Leclerc pits in. Hopefully Leclerc feeds out some traffic. I'm just going to keep pushing on here in the clean. Now my pace isn't too bad, so hopefully we can make it work. Okay, Ericsson pit in that lap, so there we go. We're now pretty much standalone up front. This is when we're taking the risk now. Hopefully it pays off. My pace is not too bad. About a second off my fast lap of the Grand Prix. Leclerc now seems to have gone through traffic. He's on the ultras, so that's okay. Let's focus on our own race though. Okay then, so Leclerc's P2, Ericsson's P3, Vettel's lost out in the pit stop phase. He's not in the top 3 anymore, which is annoying, so hopefully he hasn't had an issue and he's still in there. Rear tyres are going now. Really struggling for rear end grip. We're going to pit in this lap. Let's make it official.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
Make it official then, and we'll come in for the super softs. Just got no rear tyres now, but we've managed to get to lap 12, which is what I wanted, and it's worked out okay. Leclerc will probably undercut me, but that's fine. We're not racing him in terms of that strategy. He's got to stop, and again, we're not stopping anymore. So here we go then. It's risky stuff, but we're going to give it a go. Come on. Good stop, 2.2. I think we might even rejoin in front of Leclerc, to be fair, for now, which would be good in terms of keeping him behind. It's going to be close though. Leclerc's going to come at us with a full speed. I think, to be fair, now he's going to be ahead of us. There we go. Leclerc's setting the pace now, so he's going to be in front. Up to speed, burning up those rears. Leclerc takes first place for now. We're going to slot in P2. And Ericsson, to be fair, is on the hypers again. Vettel was just behind, so he's still in the mix, which is good. So different tyres here, 3 different compounds across the top 3. Not really sure what tyre Sebastian's on. I'm going to guess he's on the Ultras, but let's try and get up to speed on these supers and try and push on. Let's not get Leclerc get too far out of sight, because obviously he's got to stop again. So the gap we have to him will be the gap we have to defend at the end of the race. So that's kind of what we want to look after, to be honest. I'm being forced to push more than I would like in this phase, because I don't want Ericsson to get past, preferably. But to be fair, I don't feel too uncomfortable. We set a personal best, and that's on the slower tyre. We're keeping Ericsson out of DRS, which is what I want. So as long as he stays outside of a second, that's good, because his tyres will start to fade. Leclerc's also not running away, which is what I want. So far it's working out okay. I just got to try and get his pace up if I can. Another strong lap there, keeping Ericsson at bay, 1.3 behind. So far the tyres are feeling good, feeling consistent. I've got a little bit more grip than I thought I would have, which is good. And Leclerc again is not running away. Another personal best. Just starting to pull away from Ericsson now a little bit. And also start to actually catch up to Leclerc again. So far the gamble's working out okay. Everything's looking good. Tyre wear looks good as well. We're still inside 10% after 6 laps, so things are looking good. Let's hope it stays that way. Oh, Perez out of the race, the home favourite. First retirement at the Grand Prix. I'm kind of hoping there's no VSC of the safety car, because that would ruin my strategy in my race. Looks like we're not going to get one, thankfully, so that's good news for me. A bit of traffic here in the form of Sorokin. Hopefully he moves out of the way. Or actually, in this case, gives me DRS, which would be great. Through the final corner. Please stay out of my way. Just stay to one side. There we go. We're going to get a nice tow then. He didn't really hold me up, and I'm going to get DRS for free. I'm now running rich mix. I'm going to burn off all my excess fuel. As we've saved up quite a bit, we're going to get a beautiful tow as Vettel pits for the second time.
Sebastian's in for his stop.
And that is what you call a tow. Absolutely perfect to make up for that lost time in the final sector in dirty air. And we're going to get double DRS as well, which is fantastic around this circuit. So there we go. That's going to give us a little bit more extra lap time, which is good. I think this is going to be my fastest lap of the entire race. Due to that tow, I'm not going to be able to beat this. And it's a 13.0. There we go, literally a tenth off Leclerc's fastest lap. But that's going to be my PB for this race, I think, because I found 4 tenths in the first sector. But anyway, we're looking good here. Things are looking very much under control. Tyre wear is actually better than I thought, to be honest with you. I think we're still below 20% on the rears, which is what you're really looking at around the circuit on tyres. And we've been on these tyres now for 10 laps, so things are looking good. It looks like the strategy is going to work out, and we should comfortably get to the end. So yeah, it's looking good now. It's just a question of how much pace will Leclerc have when he pits for fresh ultras. There we go, Leclerc pits in. So we're going to re-inherit first place, which is good. And we're now all by ourselves. We pretty much got a pit stop gap on Charles Leclerc, so we've got to try and keep that now for the remaining 14 laps of this race. Challenge accepted. Okay, Vettel with the pace, a 1:12.8, so it's only 2 tenths up on my fastest lap, which is fine. I'm expecting Leclerc though to pump in the fastest lap next time round. That's the true fastest lap right there, 12.6. Even then, that's not as fast as I thought it would be, to be fair. But I think he'll probably still go faster and faster, but still a 12.6, that's not too bad. That's not even a second faster than me. To say he's on fresh ultras right now, that's fine by me. We can manage that. Looks like we're going to get the benefit of the perfectly timed slipstream once again here. As we're tucked in behind Lewis, we're going to pick up DRS. That Mercedes is not very fast in the straight line anymore. And it's going to be quite a nice total here. He's at the perfect range where we're going to absolutely max out the RPM. And look at this. Look at the speed difference here. Mercedes versus Ferrari, 365 Ks. And we breeze past the Mercedes from so far back, and we're going to get double DRS, of course, through the second DRS zone, which is going to buy me some more time for Charles Leclerc. I'm also about to run out of fuel, so I've burnt off my excess. I'm going to keep pushing though. I'm going to run into the negative a little bit, as it's very easy for me to save fuel. Back end is feeling a little bit horrible now, I can't lie. We've about 10 laps to go. rear tyres just aren't giving me that kind of confidence anymore to really push that much, so we are starting to manage things a little bit here, but we've got a good gap to Leclerc, 13.6. That's fine, that's pretty good. That's more like it, a 112.2. That's more like the kind of lap time I was expecting from Leclerc. Even still, we've got a good gap though, we're looking good. Just got to keep pushing, not worry too much about the gap and try and focus on myself. One more time, we're going to try and set up the perfect toe on the straight. We've had a lot of luck with traffic this race for a change. Whereas I know Leclerc this lap has had traffic through the S's, so he's going to get held up a little bit at the final corner then. This will be my last lap probably in a rich mix, so let's make full use of it by getting a nice toe from the Toro Rosso here and really maximise that top end speed. And here we go, he's a bit further forward than Hamilton, but we are still gaining. I'm going to try and see if he gets out of the way. And there we go, around the outside. He does hold it in though, which is not what I wanted, but we are still going to go around the outside and pick up DRS for a second time here. So there we go, job done. We're still going to gain time by doing that. Right, then that's the end of the rich mix. We're going to go down to standard mode, try and save the fuel a little bit, but we're looking good here. The gap's still pretty respectable. Looks like we are going to hit Bottas at the perfect time, unlike with Gasly. This one's a bit more like with Hamilton, so we're going to get a nice toe. No rich mix this time, as I'm trying to save fuel and get back on target. Although to be fair, I could actually run rich just for this overtake. Here we go, then we're going to gain on Bottas. Leclerc is just inside 10 seconds now, so he is starting to gain. 8.7 to be exact, around the outside of Bottas. Get to the apex, there we go. And we'll pick up the second DRS as well. Let's maximise this DRS zone if we can, with some rich mix again. And there we go, job done. Leclerc is flying at the minute. Gap down to 6.6. He seems to be hitting traffic at the perfect time, similar to how I was. I'm going to have to pick up the pace here somehow. I'm going to have to go even deeper into the negative fuel. Even though we just about got to neutral, I'm going to have to push on again. 5 laps to go. The gap is 6 seconds. It's going to be very close. Okay, one more lap in rich mix. We're going to push it here and test the limits. The gap is still 6 seconds. Leclerc has some trouble getting past Bottas, I think, so we should be safe now. I'm just going to play it safe and keep it in rich mix one more lap, because we know how the Sauber likes to speed up at the end of the race, especially Leclerc, so he's going to get even faster in a minute. Okay, then this has been a pretty good lap for what my tyres can do. My tyres are absolutely shot to pieces, so this is about as much as I can do. So let's have a look, and it is okay, 50% of the rears. I am feeling it. The gap is 5 seconds with 2 laps to go. I think we should be okay. I think we're home and dry, but we can't make any mistakes and no issues with traffic if possible. We've got to try and be smooth and not have any problems. Really struggling on my rears now. We are going to nab some DRS though, off of Kevin Magnussen, which is good. 2 laps to go. Fuel's looking okay. I think we should be on target to get that back to 0 when we cross the line. Blue flags from Magnussen though. Let's see if he moves out of the way. If not, we'll make him move out of the way, hopefully. Very lucky to not get an extension there for cutting that corner. Out of turn 3, Magnussen, move please. There we go, thank you very much. Right then, got a couple more cars to get through. Now we're going to hit Ocon at the perfect time to get some DRS off of the Force India, which is good. Good exit onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. Leclerc is on the same straight though, he's really pushing on here. Leclerc doing his usual last couple of laps push. 2.2 behind on the last lap of the Grand Prix. We are going to get a nice toe though off of Ocon. Fuel's pretty much on target. Just need Ocon to slow down. He holds it in though, which is not what I need. Luckily I'm going to have the inside though. Back end's all over the place. I've got no control of my rears. We are going to nab some DRS again though, but Leclerc's got to get past 2 cars to get to me. I think we're home and dry. I think we're good. We survived the 2 long straights. Here we go then. Leclerc is trying to get past Ocon. He's got past Magnussen, but it's not going to be enough. And in the end, our strategy is going to pay off. The one stopper is the way to go, and we're going to come through the final few corners, through the confetti at the baseball stadium. Leclerc on my rear wing, but it's going to be nothing as we win the Mexican Grand Prix, and that is what you want right there. Grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari, grande gara, fantastica macchina. Oh, what a race. Yes.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
So here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
You took the top points today. Was it a comfortable win? Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race. Things are looking up after last week, aren't they? It's looking like a winner has emerged in the championship. Is it in the bag? Great! Well, that's everything.
Right, so here we have the final race results. We win the Mexican Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc and Marcus Ericsson. Sebastian Vettel ultimately P4, couldn't make it work and just didn't have the pace. Nico Hulkenberg P5, Carlos Sainz P6 ahead of Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo and Romain Grosjean rounding out the top 10. And then outside of the points we got Stoffel Van Dorn, Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Brendan Hartley, Lance Stroll and Sergei Sorokin, with Sergio Perez, the home race hero, retiring from the Grand Prix there in the Racing Point Force India. In terms of the driver standings after that race, we are 10 points clear of Charles Leclerc with 2 races to go. As we confirmed the last race, Ericsson and Vettel are out of the running mathematically as Sainz overtakes Ricciardo and Hulkenberg overtakes Grosjean. And in terms of the constructors, we are 56 points behind Sauber with 2 races to go. We gained 4 points in them this race. We've got some more upgrades in the pipeline. We had an ultimate one for the chassis this race. We've got an ultimate one for the aero in the next race, and I'm going to add to that some more chassis work in this video. So let's jump into the laptop. Okay, so here we are then once again on the laptop, and you can see on the right hand side of the screen we've got 2 upgrades on the way for the next race. We've got an ultimate diffuser upgrade for the aerodynamics and a major engine power one. We're going to add to that right now even more, in the sense we're going to put some chassis upgrades on the car. And as you can see here, we've got 1,200 points, so just enough to buy 2 minor upgrades, and these are going to be for the brakes more specifically, and they will also arrive in Brazil, and those are going to be really, that's going to really push us towards Sauber. And you can see on the right hand side of the screen in the next race, if Sauber don't bring any upgrades, we are finally going to be breathing down their neck, and we finally somewhat caught up to the Sauber cars. But that being said, guys, hopefully this upgrade arrives and there's no issues on the car. And if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career Mode, then please do drop a like on the video. Also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content, and turn notifications to not miss a video from me. And finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.